This is obviously the first talk that we've had at this location. Last time that we did any type of presentation like this, it was actually it was before COVID. And then we obviously went through COVID and we didn't have any of these things happening. So it'll be a first time that we actually do a seminar again since then. So I'm really happy each of you guys could come. This is something we're going to do more regularly. And I hope it's helpful today. Some of you can't read some of the words that are on the paper. That's okay. There's no judgment, Colette. It's totally fine. So if you can't read, we will help you out. This is a giving group. She can't read as an adult, and this is a supportive environment.
Guys, is that one that we don't know?
Well, some of the words we use so that we sound more intelligent, and it's what gets you guys to pay us money. So just remember, some of this is on purpose, all right? So this topic came up. I've given this lecture a couple times to some different groups, and I thought it'd be a valuable thing for us to talk with people who actually exercise at SPC. Sarah and I were actually at a talk a few months ago, and during the conversation, the guy who was leading it really made it seem like the issue with people not exercising was related to the complexity of the exercise, meaning that it wasn't as complicated as it possibly could be. Whereas in our experience, the more complicated it is, it makes it more likely somebody's not gonna do it. And then over time, the other thing that's obviously happened here is that people seem to get hurt constantly, right? It could be because you're old. I don't know. So I'm not saying it's because you're old. I didn't say that. I was just repeating Dory. So when I come through this, I think that exercise and being habitually active is very difficult. And it's very difficult for a variety of reasons. So we're going to hit some of those things today. It's going to be some talking with me, but a lot of I'm going to make you guys do stuff so that nobody gets too tired or bored.
Sorry, I can't get down.
Is there anything that any questions you guys have around exercise, being able to stay consistent with your exercise routine that you want to make sure we talk about today?
Are you going to touch on when it's never been a habit? I mean, I'm the Title IX, girls didn't do sports. And so I never have had an exercise habit until December of 2023 when I came here. This is the longest I've stuck with a program.
Can I ask you why you've stuck with it? It was the animals, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my house thing, and also this really supportive atmosphere. I mean, you see these people who are just killer athletes doing things that, I was like, maybe someday, but probably not. And yet they're there kind of cheerleading you, the kids. It's like, hey, you're here today. And so they're really supportive environment, not just coaches, but like everybody here buys into that mindset. Yeah. And no spandex. People do not dress in spandex outfits that show that super big. That's true. That's true. I think Eddie Sports ruined as soon as spandex.
I will say that. Not much. So spandex, we'll talk about spandex. Appropriate wear, no. So people who've never had an exercise habit will definitely, that'll definitely be a piece of it. Anything else?
Yeah. So, this is clearly on you, but some of us are oppositional, make it fine, and really should do something and say no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oppositional defiance disorder. So it's what do you do? So for individuals who it's a disconnect between things that you know you should do for your health and what you actually want to do.
Yes.
Okay. Exercising you don't want to.
Yeah.
The main exercise barrier is falling. The fear of falling. So you're not low. So fear of an injury or fear of like a serious injury with exercise? Or fear. Oh, the doc? I think I got it. All right, cool. Sure. Anything else? Good list. I think we're gonna hit all of these, but at the end of this, we'll make sure to go through this list and just make sure that all the questions are all these pieces standard.
Make sure that you have enough nutrient, like a lot better nutrition, nutrition, yeah. So lack of freaking amount of sleep. Yeah, that's it. For great nutrition or appropriate nutrition. Is it healed on it?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, oppositional defiance disorder, around habit, that seem to run together. Okay, that's great. I didn't expect that one. Is that one of the best thesis? What you're doing, you back home. So we're going to start with what I think are the 4 reasons why exercise isn't easy to do. I don't think it's a natural habit for anybody to develop. We're going to look through you guys' specific habits as they stand today. We're going to look at your motivators, the things that demotivate you. We're going to look at where your current ability stands. We'll do some basic stuff, balance things, but not too many things. It's just going to be a way for us to look at it in a way that you haven't when you've been here previously. And then we'll wrap it all together and just go through some common ideas of how to start. And once you've started, how do you maintain it? And if you stop maintaining it, how do you restart? So we're going to hit all those things today. And we're also going to diagnose a psychological disorder, right? So here's my list of things that kind of suck around exercise. The first one that I feel like really needs to be hammered is that people feel that it's bad that they're lazy, that you don't want to do an activity. I would actually say that's normal. And not only is it normal, in most ways that'll leave me a goal to be as energy efficient as possible. So being energy efficient means that you don't want to do activities that you're not forced to do, right? So when somebody talks about, hey, we evolved to be physically active, we evolved to want to exercise. We did not. We evolved to be basically as lazy as we absolutely can until forced to do efforts, all right? Which is different than what we typically get told when we think about, hey, going back to our roots and being as active as possible. Second one, and this one's a little bit brutal because if you know my history, you know that I did a lot of research looking at injury screening, being able to predict how people got hurt. We can't predict how people get hurt. We can predict that you are going to get hurt because every one of you is going to. We can't prevent it. And the weird part is that we know that with injury, you quit being as active. So we know you're going to get injured, and we know that it's the number one reason why you stop being active. That sucks. Exercise barriers don't stay stable. And so what that means is you may have an exercise barrier today of not getting enough sleep. Or you may wake up with an attitude that I don't want to go about today. So mental component to it, right? You may be an injury. There can be a whole bunch of different reasons why. It's never stable. So if you do a different time point with different for the same person, they're not going to say the same responses, which is just fascinating. So it's also something that you can't always have an answer to. And then the last one is one of the things that we've done is we'll look at, is it knowledge? Is it just because people don't know that exercise is important? I don't believe that's the issues. I think the biggest issue is that it's not a knowledge issue. And so typically with the knowledge part, that you know just enough and you need to do it, and then you don't do it, and then you feel terrible about yourself, right? These 4 things, like when you look at them, the big part, the first one is Brian. So sometimes I think when we picture people that Stone Age is of hunter and gatherers, we think of these ultra fit people who are just crushing life. They could just do all the activity they want to do. There's a really interesting researcher, Daniel Lieberman, who talks about, he calls this the myth of the athletic savage. And he actually looks at one tribe in particular. He references a book, Born to Run. You guys anybody read that? Chris McDowell. So what's interesting is he went and looked at those individuals, and what he found is they don't run at all. They have a sport activity that has some religious significance where they kick a ball and they run for ultra distances, but they're forced to be physically active due to their kind of mix between an agricultural lifestyle and hunting and gathering. And they're only active when they're forced to be active to basically get food or during these religious events. They're not out running habitually all the time. Not only that, he actually even says that they made fun of him when he went for jogs in the morning. They would be like, "What are you doing? Why are you running for no reason?" He's like, "Well, I run for elf." And he said that they looked at him like he was an insane person. And the village would come out and they'd watch him running with it for him. So the whole idea that we have these like ultra supermen, that's who we came from. He actually even goes to say that it's unfair to those individuals. So the big piece, if you look at the whole thing around getting that fitness back, the thing that people in that time period and people who are currently hunter-gatherers, they move when they have to. All the other times they rest. So another famous tribe that most of the research that you look around for hunter-gatherer exercise is the Haza tribe. Has anybody heard of that? So Hazas are in Africa. They're people who do persistent running hunting, meaning right. So they'll run animals to death.
Right.
They basically have a slow pace. They run these animals until they're so exhausted that they just lay down. So humans have the ability to basically we can run on two legs. You can control our rate of breathing. Animals that have four legs can't do that, and so they can't control the rate of breathing. The rate of breathing is actually controlled by the weight of the legs, and so that's one of the advantages that humans have. When these people who can literally run an antelope to death, when they are in their free time and they're not having to gather foods, they come doing that to you little to no activity. So the whole idea that we evolved to want to exercise is just not true. Like I said, around injury and pain, injuries are incredibly normal and they're not preventable. And it doesn't actually matter what activity you're doing. So this study was it's really interesting. It went basically every activity you guys could think of. They showed that during the course of that, only 2% of the people within a month got injured, a new injury. So whether it's gardening, whether it's walking, whether it's weightlifting, bicycling, it doesn't really matter. You're probably going to have something develop whatever activity or non-activity you decide to do. Right? I mean, how many of us can think of a time where you're literally just sitting there? I always think this one's kind of funny. You drink water too hard and now your back hurts. You're like, what the hell just happened to my neck? This is ridiculous. Yeah. So there's a lot of time for you just like, I have no idea what I was doing. All of a sudden, my back just started hurting. I bent over to grab a fork from the ground. I couldn't stand back up. Yeah, we did not evolve to be injury proofs. Guys, injuries are going to happen if you're going to be active. Another fascinating thing on top of that is when we look at exercise barriers. I'll get back to the injury piece in a second. Non-exercisers versus exercisers, you have different barriers. And so if you look at somebody who is an exerciser, one of the things that will stop you from being active is if you get out of habit, the first up. I don't want to change it up. Whereas a lot of times with exercisers, there's a lot of belief systems around it that you're overcoming, right? So to get back to your never had an exercise habit, sometimes it is the fear of the unknown that could be its own barrier. You don't know if I go over and I take a bar and I lift it across my back, there could be a humongous problem with that. I could look like a moron. Yeah, so none of us have ever been on stage in a weight room, which is actually really nice. We're perfect. What's interesting, again, I could have had this in the second point, but current injuries are number one reason why people stop being active. So number one reason. When we first started SPC, we actually tried to screen people. We didn't have open clinic. That was actually something that developed about 3 years into us having a membership. We did do open clinic, and the reason was because I really wanted to have members who never hurt themselves. Right? Somebody doesn't view people. Yeah. Your issues. Yeah, we had to change stuff up, and we changed it up to basically make it so that if you guys didn't hurt yourself, it wouldn't actually stop you from being active. But it is, if what's most wild, we've probably done 6,000 Oka clinics at this point. We have programmed that we've modified to make it so that you don't hurt yourself. We train you to be able to do stuff. We slowly build, you are consistent, you do your activity, and people still have injuries, right? It's unpreventable. And it's one of those things that if you allow an injury, it'll be the reason you stop being at most often, 1 out of 5 times, right?
They didn't last part if you allow injury, but you
To stop you, it'll be the thing that's
also you an X.
yes, pain or injury, right? Last part, I really think it's interesting is we look at exercise and we know that it's healthy for us. We even have a major group, ACS Seminar, College of Sports Medicine, who calls it exercise is medicine. We know that exercise is incredibly helpful. Yet, when we talk about it, most Americans, I think from this study, was 85% of Americans say exercise is important, is a good thing to do, which I told my staff when we were talking about this on Wednesday, I do want to know about the 15% who are like, no, exercise is not good. So I don't understand that group. I am a little bit surprised. Yeah, they're homosexual defiance disorder. So we have another one here. They just don't want to do it. And they reverse engineer that defiance. And they don't think it's good for them. What's interesting is that we know that it's good for you, but 25%, less than 25% of people actually get the minimum recommendations, which is 2 resistance training days per week and 150 minutes of moderate to light activity. It's hard to do. It's not quite easy in our current society. And it doesn't really matter that if I asked each one of you, I bet, except for that 15%, except for Sarah, they say it's good, right? It doesn't seem to matter that we know, right? It doesn't matter that we know that exercise is a primary prevention tool for 35 common contributors to chronic diseases. Non-communicable chronic diseases are the leading cause of death everywhere, but definitely in America. Anywhere between 70 to 75% of deaths that occur each year in America are typically going to be related to a chronic disease. And a lot of those chronic diseases are driven by physical inactivity. So if you can't read those, because I had to make it really small, you have hypertension, you stroke, we have diabetes. So we're not going to talk about all that stuff today. It's just understand that I don't feel like that part's important. I think you already know that the exercise is actually critical. The big piece is exercise is not something that you should expect to be easy. But that's why I believe, without understanding that execution is actually what matters. So from each of those, I just want to hit these points really quick. So in modern society, it's only going to get easier to be physically inactive. Right? So you have to make a decision now that you're going to overcome a natural inclination to not do activity. You're also going to have to overcome a society that's pushing you to become physically inactive. That's only going to get worse. You also have to overcome the activity will cause you to have pain and injury in the future, which kind of sucks. And you have to stay active despite that. I really just wanted this to be positive today, so that's why I'm leading off with that. So you want to identify as an exercise, because then your barriers shift. So if you identify as an exerciser, it's much more easy to stay active. So if you don't identify as an exerciser, I do want to talk to you specifically after this about that, because it's something I work change. Because you also will quit here. That's not good for bottom line revenue. Yeah. Last thing is that taking action, execution is more important than doing the perfect thing. So execution is what matters. Doesn't matter how small it is to start with. We're going to spend almost the whole time on execution today. So the 3 lead things are to bring some seriousness to it. The last ones are where we spend almost the whole time on, which is execution. How do you actually take an action? So this actually came from the last talk. I I grew my hair out for this one. So I worked as a personal trainer for fitness. I actually was personal training at people's houses. Worked as an exercise physiologist, strength coach, college and high school level, some pro. I've done research for over a decade on injury prediction, injury screening, and obviously I own a couple gyms. So what's important about this is the part that's really limited people has never been a knowledge issue. I've seen people stop over and over again despite really wanting to be physically active. So to a certain extent, I've been obsessed with it for 2 decades. So I really, really like the idea of like, how do you get somebody to do something when they really want to do it and there's a whole system that's set up against them actually doing the activity? By the system, I mean your body. I mean, your body and our society are literally working against you the whole time. I have also struggled with exercise relapsing, and I'll explain what that means in a second, which means I'm somebody who has quit exercising on multiple occasions and over a few months to a couple times over a year. I always have pain of some level, so I'm somebody who deals with pain on a daily basis. And man, I love working. So it's hard to shut it off. And all of those things have led to me not being active. That's Sarah's leg right there, if you guys are great. Try to always throw her into one of these things. So from there, I want to ask some questions before I share a little bit more about myself. So we're going to go through those top questions again. And I want to talk to you guys a bit about it. So first question, how many days have you exercised more than 30 minutes in the past 2 weeks? You guys already filled this out, didn't you? Everybody filled it out. They do the instructions all done? Oh, yes.
We break. But
Yeah, everybody was like, I saw Mike cheating off somebody. Mike, did you pop your Lauren?
No.
I was like, I worked out 17 times in the last 2 weeks. No? Okay.
yeah, but like that's like what's exercise? Doesn't he go to the gym? Does it push that 30-minute walk? Does if you need out your 6, 7, 8,000 steps?
That's a great question. What does it mean to you in cancer surgery? What's it mean to you? Like, if you won't qualify as exercise, so.
It did at least my 6,000 steps and do strength training, or like that's it. That my balance, flexibility, except awkward because I'm real terrible at doing it. But
Yeah. So I would consider an exercise of behaving as structure
okay,
and beyond what's needed for your daily activities.
So intention, pulling for a walk where you're just pulling for a walk, not getting steps into but you're doing other stuff.
Well, and that's a good question. If you look at like a literature of anything where it's related to measure physical activity lows, you do separate that. It's separated that way. So physical activity, you do separate it in different ways. So exercise is typically going to be defined as its structure and it's performed with the purpose to get stronger, get faster, to build fitness.
so gardening not so much.
Gardening, not so much, but it was still count as a physical, like a physical activity, a healthy physical activity. And it count towards light to moderate activities, like that 150 minutes. It still counts.
I walk my dog to these 30 minutes every day. Would that count as exercise? It's just,
It doesn't be.
but to walk my dog, she shared my house. So
That's
there's a motivation.
I totally did that. Yeah. So WAPI does count. Absolutely.
You want to go home then?
A question for all of us? Yeah, no, it's more just a question. So the stopping for over a month, that's how we classify what's called an exercise relapse, or stopping exercise has to be over a month. Versus you're just taking a break because you're on vacation and then you don't reach back out to us for 6 months. Right? Pain is whatever you find pain as. Yeah. So pain, sometimes people will come in and it's actually really funny. They'll say, we'll be like, what brings you in today for PT? And they're like, my back is tight. You're like, it's tight. Yeah, I can't do anything. tightness for them is pain, but they won't say pain for some reason, right? So it's whatever you also like, Colette, you define it as tight. I think that's probably also good.
But is it?
Tight, sore, whatever word you use to mask that it's actually pain. It's okay, it's good.
I do like technical.
I did.
Man,
Spousal abuse.
significant injuries to me, those are icky things that have taken more than a couple months where you've had to actually adjust your activity level.
Your favorite exercise, I assume it's lifting. And so it should be on there. If it's not on there, Ursula is here to talk with you afterwards. This one is one that we've actually been using, and I'll talk about later, is what's called an accountability metric. So the intention, when you have an intention to exercise and you still skip.
Oh, that's me.
So that's what that would counting.
Goes to reschedule. Yeah, it depends on the every time you reschedule, right?
You rescheduled 6 times, then it counts. All right. All right. So my own exercise relapse history, and like I said, that same thing, which really you go over a month. I've had really 4 big ones. So I had one in college. My first 2 years as a physical therapist, I decided I didn't want to exercise ever again. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I decided I was going to work a lot. So I just basically worked the whole time, right? I had a concussion in 2018 that was pretty horrible. And that took a really long time to get back to normal. And Sarah made me work through it.
No.
No, she took care of it, actually. And then stress on work barriers. We bought a building at 22 and we remodeled it. And obviously where you guys are at, obviously. You didn't know that. Unbelievable. So what's interesting is that people, like, and this is one of the important things to know, is that exercise, people will relapse from exercise. It's just normal. And still the most common reason is injury. The most common reason people will stop being active. And the one I wanted to share with you guys, I found the picture of me from football, which I had to be to remember. So I should have modeled. Look, yeah, it's a good photo. Look at the hair and everything. It's a great smile. Looking really good there. Right, so it's too ridiculous. So I only played sports. I didn't exercise if I wasn't doing a sport. I guess the only way I exercised, and I only exercised in groups. Right, so it'd be like a group training, right? When I played football, I had a few injuries that weren't well managed, and then I ended up fracturing my leg. And after that happened, I developed neuropathy on top of it, which I didn't really understand at the time. And I couldn't play through it anymore. Went to a series of different doctors that kind of minimized it until I got to a point where I couldn't play anymore. And until the last 2 physicians I talked to told me I'd have to stop. And so I couldn't play through it anymore. One of them told me that if I didn't quit doing activity, I would have a hard time walking in 10 years. So it was just like kind of one of those things where that sounds scary, you know, I'm 20 and I'm being told that I'm probably going to be in a wheelchair if I keep doing the activity that I really like doing. So, being sports. You always football? You use football. And the weird part about it is the hardest part for me, there was 2 things. The first one is I didn't know how to exercise on my own. And then I completely lost the entire social system that I had. So when you aren't in that sport anymore, it's not that those people that you're friends with, it's not that I wasn't friends with them anymore, but I wasn't exercising with them. There's all these camaraderie things. Those just disappeared. So I didn't know how to be active. Like it was, which is really weird, collegiate athlete, and I didn't know how to actually do exercise on my own. So I stopped. And I was basically afraid of my body. I was afraid that anything I would do, my body would go bad. Like I thought there was gonna be something really, really bad that would happen. So that's my story. And what I think is interesting is if you talk to any physical therapist, except for what to get Sarah. Sarah became a therapist because of Regarding Henry, which is a fantastic movie.
That's my only seat.
Oh, this is share that. Everybody else had an injury. So they had an injury and it led them that way.
I didn't know that. See, should have said that in front of everybody. So the big part is, and I want to just get out of the way, is that there are going to be periods of time where you might decide to stop. It's okay. You just want to get started again as soon as possible. That's what our place is literally completely about. We have definitely moved towards this idea of our mission is to make sure that people stay active the rest of their life. That's really all we care about. That's our number one thing. And if you stay physically active, we already know a lot of stuff that could happen will be prevented. The number one thing that you could do to have an healthy life is your visual exercise. You don't have to stay.
Okay, great.
Just joking. Not true. We'll get back to that in a second. So I think that there's really broken down into two prongs. How do you start? Most of us have already started. We're still going to go through it because I think it's a good thing to understand. And then how do you maintain? Just more of like a discussion with how to make it to be. Has anybody read the book Turning Habits by DJ Barr? On the list. Great book. I recommend if anybody enjoys nonfiction. It's an extremely easy read. Just a beautiful concept. It's really well written. Could use writing there some more. This topics that we're about to jump through, most of that started from that book and from his ideas. The interesting part is for an action to happen, there's really three things you want to consider. The motivation around the action to do it, your ability to do it, and a prompt or something to indicate you should do it, right? If any of those three things aren't there, the action can't happen. And then with that, you have times where motivation is really high, you have times where ability is really high, and that impacts how much motivation or ability or need is you. Meaning, if your motivation is super high, it doesn't matter if you suck at the thing, you're probably gonna get done, right? If your motivation is really low and your ability is really high, you're still probably gonna do it because it's not hard for you to do it, right? This whole line, this action line, all it's saying is that for any activity that you do, it's gonna be a combo of those things with the prompt. If you don't have enough motivation and your ability is low, you're not gonna do it, and vice versa. So it's just an important thing. If you run into a problem and you're not taking action on an activity, it's going to be one of those three problems. You either don't have the motivation at the right level, so we want to increase it. You don't have the ability to do it, right? It doesn't matter, for example, when I go swimming, I'm horrible at swimming. A beautiful wife. I keep on bringing you up. I'm sorry. Hard not to talk about. She's amazing at swimming, and it is so frustratingly beautiful to watch. So she can just hammer. She looks like a motorboat going down the pool, right? And when I swim, it is so effortful and it's so brutally hard that I make it one length and I feel like I'm gonna die, right? And so her and her sisters will warm up on a 500. That's not even a joke. They'll warm up on a 500. It is so frustrating. And so for me, what happened is I was motivated, highly motivated, but the thing that broke it through for me was getting a dorky swim snorkel. You guys see a swim snorkel?
Oh, yeah. That's very nice bit.
It's so embarrassing. It looks weird. You look weird when you're using it. Yeah. So it's like, these are height here, goes in the front of your head, look like a weird shark. Like,
Is she so your shark?
I should. It's like total shark fin. Sarah makes you put floaties on, but it works. The floaties work. So all I mean by that is that there are things that upgrade your ability. We'll talk about each of those. So we're going to start with motivation. So motivation can really split along three axes. You have sensation as a motivation, you have anticipation, and you have belong. So you guys see your papers, right? You see, so we should have a part that says one of those three. We're going to make this specific to exercise. So which of the three, I'm going to have you just rank up. Which of these are the reasons you're doing? We'll go 1 for 3. So for sensation, is it because you're trying to make your body feel better? Is it because you're trying to avoid pain? Number 2, anticipation. Is it that you are trying to avoid a fall that breaks your hip? Or is it that you're hoping you look super sexy in the bikini on the beach? That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's the one. Or trucks. Yeah, choose trucks. Not Spanish. Or Spanish. One of the people here will leave if we do that. So, is it because you, for belonging? Which, like I said, that was one of them for me. Part of a career. Or one that I think also that we could talk about a lot, is there a shame component or
We're with metal, like running, all that keeps you just more mental state, stress reduction. Would that be
I think that'd be sensation.
sensation?
Okay. So her question was, where would it be if you do it more like clarity and mind, managing stress of the day?
Yeah.
Be sensation. I do want you to rank. So now after you've ranked it, what I'd like you to do is then write out a specific, just one specific for each one. It's for a motivation for you. So as you write it, also you might agree. So for me, when I first started, especially when I started looking again, it made my body feel better, painless. My pain was more manageable, felt more comfortable. It's not that anymore for me. My motivation is I really enjoy how it makes my body feel more better. I enjoy the feeling I'm actually doing the activity. Everybody good? Cool. Anybody need a break? All good? All right, we're gonna keep on powering. So anytime you're thinking about motivation, I believe it's very, very helpful to be extremely specific. So if you want to do exercise, you want to be physically active, you really want to hit one of those three. You're gonna say, what is the specific motivation that you have behind it? Right? And then what you want to go from there is to understand the motivation is not static. Motivation is more like a wave, right? Meaning that you'll have times where motivation is crazy high. You also have times where motivation is low. And the exciting part is that the normal is low, right? Your motivation is crazy low, right? So it doesn't stay high the whole time. It's high is abnormal. So when you think of an activity you want to do, just realize it's possible to do something that's really, really hard for a period of time because you're motivated to do it. Like when I talked about the swimming, I'm okay drowning when I go one leg a couple times, but then I immediately get to snorkel out and it's on my head about I'm able to go and then more rep because I made my ability better. Go ahead.
I dropped it to people so that when drink coffee, do you want to make themselves? Is that so? Look it up more.
So our question is, what would coffee, like a stimulant, be for motivation?
As I said, they need it in order to move.
It's a good question. On the top of my head, when I say that it's an actual motivator, maybe it may make it so that you feel more alert, say your ability. I would actually say it's jump starting your ability. There could be a motivation portion to depend on one of those axes. Is it that the motivation goes up because it feel comfortable, it feel better? Or is it because the motivation is they drink that coffee with a significant other and then they go and do the activity together after that? It just depends on that hand. I don't think it's by itself. It's a motivator for meta activity. It's probably augmenting either ability or whatever your motivation is. Like a common one will be, I don't know if we still have a lot of people using it, but there's a Spark, which is like an energy drink. So if one of your demotivators for activity is going tired and you turn it, and you become more awake, more alert, I can help with your ability to show up. Great. Any other questions? Cool. First question. That's awesome. So I want to get specific again. So what are your demotivators for exercise? That's a new one. So E. Let's write some of these down too. I like that. That's the most engagement we've had the whole time. Peace. Oh my God.
So eat,
Fatigue.
fatigue,
Like IT, just black out.
Energy.
Like not just deep on thoughts.
Narcolepsy.
Not narcolepsy, because then I would be sleeping. Insomnia?
I shouldn't. Wave us down. So if you have especially the big ones, like
Some of us had issues taking care of ourselves, so making sure your bed is a problem for you, right? And it's not just a matter of like, I might eat I might eat healthy stuff. I just don't remember to eat.
right? Forget fuel correctly and appropriately. Yeah.
Physical shape of your body, bottomless. She just goes like to me. That's a guess, Austin. Adapted.
Side or head. Or all changes.
I would priority.
Yeah.
Add a priority.
Work at us. Work always.
Put that down. But each of these are as useful. It's important to know your motivators, but you also want to know your demotivators. Vacations. Nobody goes on vacations here. Oh, yeah. Oh, we do.
Maybe you work out during vacations here.
No.
I try. Easy. Depends on the day.
I will like that's less often. You work out, so it lets you be in the. But it just depends. It depends on how you like it. Yeah. But write each of those down. The demotivators are as important as the motivators. Okay. Right there. Yeah. Besides Dory, joking. Does anybody else want to talk about a demotivator?
It's additional laundry.
That's fair. My God, that's very fair. I mean, great video. Yeah.
So far we've had like it sounded. I can't tell. So sleep and fatigue is a big one. And then another big one is extra laundry.
Practice coming out.
It's just work, like your job. Yeah, taking care of a sick family member, but not time.
Having a cat on one.
Cats.
That's true. An inactive spouse or partner. Oh, yeah, that's true.
sweet passes.
Suicide.
Chronic injury. Chronic
Injury.
The ignorance of what contributes to the chronic hate. The lifelong, they want that melanin skin. Yeah, so that's, I guess it's not.
Carla? What?
Just getting out the house, walking out the door to that way. My dad.
Yeah.
I can't give an A with the pass. To say, yeah, she will. I mean, she will someday, but she feels like every time she eats that she better. She could get a meat one day.
Harley? Larry?
That's a really long list.
Yeah, Steve. So you always say that's interesting, right? So out of all of these guys, how much time have you guys spent on thinking about your motivators?
No, watch.
Too much, huh?
Too much, right? What's interesting about you, Mike, is that you've enlisted help on it, right? You have a support system around it, so you've actually done a lot of things around your product issues, right? So one of the big things is that the demotivators, I just want to point that out. It's easy to go, hey, I want to exercise. I have motivation to be physically active, right? I have these reasons I want to avoid pain. I enjoy how it makes my body feel. I enjoy the camaraderie of the people that also exercise with me. I like to coach them with. I like the trainer that helps me out. But then we really ignore the thing that's going to make you so you never show, right? So the demotivator part is as important, if not more important. If you don't understand what thing is going to sabotage you, you're going to get sabotaged. Okay? We will dig into, at the very end, we'll hit a few of these specifically. And we don't have time for it. I'll leave with any of you that wants to go through this with me anytime you want to. Okay? If we don't have time to go to yours specifically. But just to pick one of those, right? I think that we do the health and pain, the chronic injury one, fairly well. The hard, it's not easy. Remember, that step will shift, will start to feel better. So here's an example. You have a knee issue, right? A chronic osteoarthritis in your knee has degenerated, and you're not going to go get a full knee. You're not going to do anything. And you know that if you do too much activity, you're going to feel horrific. You're going to stop doing activity, right? That's demotivator. You know that every single time you irritate your knee, you're going to feel worse, right? So right off the bat, you want to make sure that knee workout that you do, you don't irritate your knee, right? So there might be somebody might say, well, you have to do squats. You have to do hinges. You don't have to do that until that's actually a thing you can do without pain. So to me, if you have a primary demotivator and then you constantly cause yourself to be demotivated, that's stupid, right? But it's okay, it's comedy. But we'll also go through it. Raise your great. If you never consider how to correct it, that's an issue. If you don't build a whole support system around it, if you don't think about it as hard as you do about the actual exercise you do, it's a huge issue, and it's going to make us like I'm never actually succeeding and be physically active. It's as important as the exercise that you do. And that's why motivation is such like a key thing. We often think about, that's why I led in motivation, we often think about the ability to do a squat. We think about being able to run for 30 minutes. We think about go having the right shoes to work. But you don't think about, then I'm not going to show up if I get horrible sleep. I'm not going to show up if I have a high workload and I don't change when my meetings are, because if I have this meeting, I know I'm not going to go work out afterwards, right? It takes time to think about it. So if you're going to execute, like I said, the purpose of this piece is really think about how you're executing. You're not going to execute it. Everything that you do will be completely flushed down the toilet by a single demotivator that's going to constantly happen. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's a big point because it's not like for me. I have to choose: am I going to mow the lawn? Am I going to work out and mow the lawn? And I only be able to do 2 things or 1 thing that day. So it just depends on the activity too. Like, I'm going to the gym, so we better not mow the lawn today. Stuff like that.
It's a great job. I wasn't just doing reading today because you went to the gym. Because otherwise, I can't.
Actually, let yourself recover.
Okay, it's a good.
It's a great one.
Not letting the strive for perfection get in the way of stuff that's good.
It's gonna not work. Yeah. So another one would be, if we're talking about the knee pain, it would be just doing an arm exercise. It'd be just spinning on the saw blade with your arms. It's fine. So something is better than nothing. Okay. So demotivators are important. That's a big piece to take away. So now when we talk about ability, this is where we're actually going to move a little bit. All right. So ability, there's really 3 ways that you improve your ability. And by ability, I mean your ability to actually do the thing you want to do, right? You can train to get better at it. Okay. So you get better at the ability. So just remember on this axis that the better you're at it, the less motivation you need to do it. The worse you're at it, the more motivation you need to be able to do it, right? So if you get better at it, it goes down this line. It takes less and less motivation. You have tools to support. You could join a gym, a SPC, and work with coach. All right. And you can also scale it back. Now, if the book I talked about at the beginning, Tiny Habits, his whole concept, he leads with scaling everything back to the most easy points. The least amount of thing that you could do is descale. So his idea would be, you want to start lifting, you wake up in the morning, put your shoes on. That's it. And that's it. You train yourself to be able to be good at putting shoes on. And it sounds ridiculous, but if you read Coach Wooden's book on what he did with his team, he always started every year. His teams are just crushed everybody else. Won the most games in a row, multiple championships. He started every season by teaching people how to put socks on and tie their shoes correctly so they didn't get blisters.
Hey, that's important.
Ridiculous. I mean, but you would think you're at this level, like an incredible level, but being able to put the shoes on correctly without getting blisters, then that would actually lead to people missing time. And so we start with the most basic ability to make sure that they actually show up when they need to. So it's always gonna be one of those three. Train to get better at it. You enlist support, whether it's a tool or a person, and then you scale it back to where you can be successful. All right, so we're gonna do a current ability to be active. So we are an hour and 10 minutes into this. Everybody's falling asleep, right? Everybody falling asleep? So if you can, what I'm going to have you do, we're going to do a screen. You guys can do it in a seated position. You can also stand up. You don't have to see me to do this. I'll walk you through it. We're just going to do the neck and the shoulder and the elbows. A screen. So if you guys have ever heard of a screen, go and stand up as I talk. Move if you want to. You can stay seated if you like to as well. I'll wake everybody up. Justin has fallen asleep twice. I'm all right, so a screen, all a screen does is it creates a cut point that helps to stratify a group to say these people need something, these people don't, okay? So this screen, all I'm looking for is if it hurts. None of there's emotional notation. If it hurts, you're gonna check box on the paper, and then you're gonna make sure when you guys go home, you're gonna schedule an open clinic and it's not already being managed by your team. Okay? So remember, this is all about us making money here today. So it's all about making money. So if you need help, make sure you schedule here. Okay? All right. So we'll start with the neck. Okay, so neck is, we're just gonna do extension. I think somebody did, it might have been Mike. Somebody asked me, this is what cervical means, his neck. Okay? Right here. All right, go ahead, let go. As far as you can go, and then come back good. Did that hurt? Yes. Okay, if it hurts, and you already knew that it was gonna hurt, you don't have to do it, so it doesn't hurt. So if you already know it's gonna hurt, you don't have to do it. So that would be a positive. So not a positive, but for a test, it's a positive sign of the test, right? So you'll mark it down. Okay, so extension, let's go chin to chest. God is paid. You're gonna check box in the cervical part. Look over your shoulder as far as you can go. Look over the other side. Or you can go your shoulder. Your shoulder. All right, so neck is done. If you had pain, I'll give you a second. Mark it down on a piece of paper. Schedule with us when you get home. All right, shoulders. We're going to go full flexion, high as you can go. God, Mark, that's great. Yes, it is. Nice. Who helped you with that? Come back down. Hands behind your back. Elbows forward. Listed checking out instrumentation. I heard an Alfie Dory. He said my still. Perfect. Good. Hands behind your back. That's
Simon Says.
Yeah. Simon Says. You guys all failed. You're out again. All right. Any of those are painful, write that down. Okay. Last one, and then you guys can take a break. Elbow straight. That causes pain. You're going to go full elbow flexion. Now on this one, you're going to take your right arm and you're going to try to push your hand to your shoulder. That causes pain. That would be a positive. It's not really a positive. And then the other side, same thing. Okay, elbows at your sides. Not sure. We'll talk about it later. That's also positive on the screening test. Hands go down. Pronation. And then hands go up. Sukush. Cool. If that was a positive, you'll knock it down. All right, have a seat. I promise we're almost done.
I get a praise.
So an easy green that we do, and you guys some ends if you want to, if you all fun it. We'll straighten anything you guys want. When you guys are working with a coach here and you have an issue, this is one of the things that the coach will do is they'll take you through a screening test just to look at what body parts cause them a symptom. They have tools that will make you feel better. If you have pain inside one of the sessions, that's already not a good sign. Like when you're working out, tell the coach. The coach can already start to mitigate some of those problems right off the bat. So if you have, don't be afraid to tell us that, okay? You guys probably already know this, that our whole workout program is based around 6 specific movements. We're not going to hit it today. As members, you guys know what they are. You just may not know that we call this. So a Lokshari press would be like a squat. So every workout that you guys do in here is a variation of these 6 movements. Right? So a squat, a sit to stand, a front squat, barbell back squat. Lower extremity pull would be a hinge. So it's going to be dead root. It's going to be the pull through. No one looks good with pull throughs. I didn't want to make sure I said that. Everyone looks ridiculous with a pull through. Right? Neil's going to demonstrate it for everyone though. So everybody looks ridiculous. And you're like reaching through your legs mid to hip hinge, right? It's a low extremity pull. You have split leg. That's like a lunge, split squat, reverse lunge, forward lunge. We have the arch extremity push. So that's a bench press, push up. You have the vertical component of it, so like a shoulder press. Upper extremity pull, which is like a row or a pull up. And then core. And then core, we think about it in 3 ways. You have the transverse plane, sagittal plane, frontal plane. You guys don't need to know this. You just need to know that everything that you do in here is one of those movements, and that we're very biased towards you being really good functionally. Because if you can hit keys, every activity you do outside of here is a combination of one of these 6 activities, right? If you have to reach for something, you have to grab something from the ground, it's going to be like a hinge with the pull. So everything that you do is to be a combination of those. That's why our team uses that to develop your programs. Right. No, not everybody has to do this, but I hope you participate in this. I want to show you if you have an issue with your proprioception, your vision, or your vestibular system. Does anybody have vertigo right now? Good. All right, everybody stand up again. Because if you had vertigo, we were going to make it real bad for you. Vomit everywhere. All right, so first thing, so proprioception or somatosensory system, that's going to be the special system, special nerves in your body to tell you where you're at in space. Okay, so everybody bring your feet together. Now, if you feel like you're going to fall, stop. Right? So if you feel like you're going to fall, don't fall. Right? Do not fall. All right? Now, you can feel everybody's kind of doing that, but you feel it's a little bit, like you get a little bit of swaying with that, right? So now, you're going to take your feet and you're going to do more like split stages. Remember, don't fall. If it feels like you're losing your balance, go a little wider. But if you want to make it more difficult, you go one from the other. That narrow basis of core, you feel how that's harder? You guys want to see, you can look at Neil. Right, I
had a few before.
There's been drinking a little bit before I started.
5 point summer.
All right. So now go a little bit farther apart. So that's your proprioceptive system. Your eyes are open, your head's in neutral position, right? We're going to challenge that ability for you to use your proprioceptive system by taking your visual system away. All right. Keep your eyes open. Oh my God, keep your eyes open right now. If you feel like it's uncomfortable right now, you feel like you're going to lose your balance, get wider with your feet. Guys?
Right. Not the lower. Oh, no, they're
Like that. Like that. See how my hands are actually feet? Yeah. So now in that position, close your eyes. Open your eyes. Oh my God. Open your eyes. It's got nervous. All right, close your eyes. Open your eyes. Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Open your eyes. Isn't that weird? Is it weird how your whole system goes, what the hell are you doing right now? Open your eyes. I love that part. Right? So that's your visual system. Most people develop visual dominance. And after most injuries, you actually develop visual dominance, which is kind of interesting in our bodies to do that. So some of the really cool studies that they've done around people post-op ACL. So you know the ACL tear, and they go in and you have a propensity to become visually dominant after a tear of anything that's really important for your ligaments, right? So if you have a neck injury, you typically become more visually dominant. If you have a knee injury, you become more visually dominant. And that affects your whole system, which is, I find that fascinating.
Oh, I guess you
Why? When you have a frame of reference, it just helps you basically solidify where you're in space. So it's just another piece of information. And you really have three of them, which we're going to throw the vestibular piece on there now. So here we go, feet together or a little bit farther apart. Okay. We're going to close our eyes again, which is going to be fun. But before we close your eyes, you're just going to keep the feet like that, eyes open, and you're just going to rotate your head. Even as long as it's pain free. Sarah's actually back now, so I do not let her get in trouble. He looked up and I was like, who, does your neck hurt? He's like, yeah. Yeah. I should have said, don't do that. Yeah. Okay, so now we're in that position again, okay? So kind of different, right? So let's go split stance again. Remember, as long as you have that comfortable position, you're not losing your balance. Same thing, let's go side to side. Now this may not surprise you, but this is one of the reasons why people will fall. Right? So when you're walking, you'll go into the split stance position naturally. It's called double and support. And people will hear something, they'll turn to look at it, which is normal, just a normal reaction that we have, and they eat on the ground. Right? So when that happens, it's not good, right? That's why we want to practice it. Now, imagine you hear something and you go in through a door and your eyes, they basically said shrink, right? Your pupils could shrink because you were coming from outside and you basically lose all your vision. We're going to play on that. So now your feet are going to be a little bit farther apart. You're going to close your eyes. Now you're going to rotate your head side to side.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's up.
Open your eyes.
Now it.
Right? So that's three systems. Now the only system that was really active there that you had really good control of is proprioceptive system. So it feels like you're going to stagger, you have some sway. Sway is fully normal. You know, so when somebody tells you to balance and you try to make it so you don't move whatsoever, it means you're not really giving the information to the body that we want you to. Sway's fine as long as you control. All right, so let's do this again. All right, so we're in this position again, right? And now what we're going to do instead is you're just going to look, eyes are still open, you're going to look to the right. Remember, if you know what the right is, that's so right is to your right. All right. Yeah. Close your eyes and keep them closed. Open your eyes. Isn't that weird? It's like, oh, it's weird how your body's like, and I'm losing it, and you can't correct it, and I'm going over. All right, so this is going to be the last one. Let's look at your vestibular system involved. So feet shoulder width apart. Okay? So if you can, get enough space so you can touch your toes.
Wait a minute.
I can touch my toes.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to go mid-shin. We're not going to go for toes. We're going mid-shin after what just happened there. All right. So what it's going to look like is you're just going to keep your eyes open. You're just going to touch mid-shin. Okay? You're going to look over your right shoulder, and you're going to keep over your right shoulder, and now you're going to touch your shin and come right back up. So come back up.
Ooh, okay.
You're going to go each back out, touch your shins, come back up. Okay? Now you're going to close your eyes. So close your eyes. You're going to touch your shin. You're going to come back up. You're going to touch your shin, come back up.
My eyes open and closed. Like,
Closed.
Okay, where's my head supposed to be?
Now open your eyes. Watch me first, because my questions are kind of free. Okay, so we're gonna make this a little more difficult. I just wanted you to see what that felt like. You're gonna knee your foot in that split stance position again. Okay. You're gonna close your eyes. Watch me first. Watch me first. I already saw Dory go. I'm like, Dory, close your eyes. You're gonna rotate your head, and you're gonna touch with your left hand onto your shin. You're gonna come back up. Touch your shin. You're gonna come back up. Eyes closed.
Rotate for
If you can, do not fall. But if you fall, make it serious enough, because you have to come to SPC BT.
Okay, how does a little harder?
Which is interesting, right? So there's a vestibular piece there. There's a proprioceptive piece there. The big part on that, right? Remember we talked about there's no real reason why you're going to stop being active. It could be because of cure. It could be because of an injury. And it's incredibly easy for you to be, I wanted to show you that being in a split stance position, you do that every time you take a step. You constantly have compromises to your vestibular system. You constantly have compromises to your visual system. You just may not realize. Go ahead.
Does it get worse as you age?
Absolutely. His question is, does it get worse as you age? You become more visually dominant with age. Like, partially that's because how often do you work on it? Not often. You better work on some now here, but if you felt like it was really, really uncomfortable, these are some of the things that will be coming out in our balance challenges workouts that are coming out next week if we film the videos.
Yes, I say have a done balance and online workouts on one act. It used to be part of our warm up, but now like
It's gonna be something that's gonna be on demand. Like honestly, for a lot of your workouts, like so you work on split leg positions, you'll get balance.
sure, that's true.
Right? You have some of the other mail we can add it on. But the big piece about it is just this is a piece of your ability. So if you feel any compromise in your ability to balance, it's not going to be just you're good at these balance exercises. It's going to also come out across every activity you do, right? So sometimes like fear of going for a walk could be because at certain points you can tell that you're actually losing your balance. You just don't realize it's not actually conscious, right? Go to LC. I would like, well, can you go down and around? Nobody's doing that right now, but can you go lay down flat on the ground and stand back off?
With one time knees.
With hands. With hands.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With no hands, no legs. Let's see what happens. Is it you can? If you can, hold, high five. Wow.
Taking a Turkish stand-up thing.
Turkish stand-up. The classic Turkish stand-up. Yeah. No. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can practice that. If it's something, I just want to make sure I mention it in the talk today. If you don't feel like you can, I do specifically want to work on that with you. So as you can, that's something our team does want. If you don't feel like you're comfortable trying it, we want to work on it with you. To close out the ability part, because I always over talk, the awesome part about ability is that once you develop an ability, it doesn't go away. You carry it forward with you, right? If you learn how to swim, you can swim. You learn how to ride a bike, it may take a little bit, spin a little bit on it, but you don't forget that skill. So things that you learn today, so I would love it if you guys work out here for up, right? What our mission is that if you get so good at lifting that even if you can't lift here, you feel extremely comfortable going somewhere else and being able to work out now. Right? That's one of our big things with our team. We want to be your team driver, but we also want to make sure that if you can't be here, you still feel really good doing it. That's why our coaches are always available. I'm not going to spend a ton on prompt. Prompt is just a thing, signal. It's a thing that tells you to do something, right? It's a trigger. You'll hear a whole bunch of different terms out, whether it's trigger, prompt, signal. It's whatever gets your brain to think of doing the activity, right? So if you're looking to buy something, one of the prompts will be it flashes at you, right? You'll see it all the time. There's really three ways to think about prompts, and it's around the curve again. You're right, it doesn't have on your low motivation, volatile. If it's low motivation, low ability, you're not going to do it.
So that
Right. So that's where you spend more time to get the motivation. That's not
they're mid-range, just either high or low. And
well, if you think about like a range, yeah. So it's where you're at, but the whole idea is that you're always thinking that you have low motivation. And you take advantage of when you do have high. So a facilitator is if you have low ability, that's what our coaches are, right? When you come in here, you've never been able to actually do a squat before, not early, you don't have any idea how to do an activity, it facilitates your ability to do it. That's a coach. That's a consultant. That's anybody that teaches, that's a teacher. Right? That's anything that you want to be able to do if you don't know how to do it yourself. It's beautiful. It's what a facilitator is. Spark is just a signal because you have high ability, high motivation. It means you really want to do it. It just needs something to tell you to do it. You just need something to signal it's time from ready to go. Spark is when you don't really want to do the thing, but you have the ability to.
Stop staring.
I know. Now, do you want to point out that was a classic? That was a classic oppositional defiance right there. Right. So to go on to this right here, that's. I just want to make sure everybody understands. I just diagnosed it. Oppositional defiance disorder right there. Okay. Quit staring at them. All right. So problems. You guys, the big thing on the problems is we can go over it in more detail. Tiny Atoms is a great way, so a great book for you guys to read if you want more detail on it. One of the big things is to do what's called a habit stack. Has anybody heard of that term before? Habit stack, right? If you already have something that you typically do, habit stack. Everybody has habits they do already, right? So one of the most useful ways to know that you have it is to stack it on an already occurring habit.
Stack.
So one of my favorite ones is like in the morning I make coffee. So it's the way that he talks about in the book is after X, I will eat whatever the thing you would. After I make coffee in the morning, I will do 10 squats. That means you want to be like very basic, building an activity. You're taking advantage of something that you do daily. When we talk about our whole plans, and when you guys come in for physical therapy, the most common part is that people, if you have more than a couple activities, people don't do their whole plan. It drops off a cliff, right? So one of our favorite ways is to take home plan that you're going to do, stack it into a routine. That's why you'll often hear us say, when you're doing your workout, before you start to lift, you traction it back. But you know that you doing it here, we come in here, you've already accomplished half of the work. You're here, and now you just need to do the activity, right?
That the Tiny Habits book we're talking.
It's a great book.
That the one that's read.
Yeah. None of the stuff around motivation or ability came from me. That's all beat it by that. Yeah. It's a crazy useful tool. It's just a very, very useful way to think about it. So I just have some general things around maintaining this, right? I want you to write down any of them that link and up like this seems to fit how you think about it. One of the big ones is to lose the short-term mindset. So if you're somebody who's typically gone like boot camp style, think more long-term, think more systems. Goals are less important than having a system that you do over and over again. Build your system to basically be present with low motivation, meaning low motivation is going to be your normal. And then when you are highly motivated, do something that's hard that'll build your ability. So think about building ability, get yourself better at something, because in the future your motivation matters less. If you're struggling, try to get support. So we talked about like the spouse being an issue where you're not going to be able to do it because of the spouse. I can't remember if we said that. I think Rich called Teresa out for that. I don't remember. There was something around that. You may need to look outside that. You may need to find somebody else to be that support system. Or you can make it support for them. Something that helps them actually show up for you. Make it engaging. If it's an activity that you hate, you're not going to do it long term. If it's really something that you hate, you're not going to do it. So can you make it into something that's a joy? Can you make it easier? Is it because you're doing it too hard? You're not actually the right mind space for it. You just need a different, like some little different variety. You want a period of time where you can adulting or yoga. That's okay. It's okay. You don't always have to do the strength training piece here. It doesn't have to be going to be one, it's like single-minded, only one activity. You can build a variety of things, and when one loses its spark, switch to another. That's not an issue.
So that's actually, the some of us are. We either do all or nothing.
Okay.
So you want to either do it all, or if you're not doing it all, then you know. That makes any sense.
So we say that's where would you classify that as an issue? Demotivation? Do you not?
Oh, it's a mental issue. I mean, it's more about like, I want to do all the things, so I can't. It's indecision.
Got it.
It's more like a mental indecision kind of.
So you're an execution.
Sure.
Yeah, I totally. So if you know that you have a thing like that, break that out of it. Breathe it. You don't have to be that way. I know.
I think that just say that it takes a little bit more.
Thought work, like thought, right? And build a system around it. Right? So none of this is like, none of it's easy. But if you don't like clearly write it down, you clearly write what you're going to do. Clearly delineate how you're going to execute. I promise you, that's going to completely follow. It's not I'm not saying that it's not ability, right? Right from the start, you still think you have to be very difficult to be active. I don't disagree with you whatsoever. But it's more if you don't make the change, you're only going to sit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you pause?
Oops.
Here. Yeah, but then come and make time and calendar to the other.
Has to be calorie. You know, I do think that's interesting. You guys, if you did read the last email our team sent out, that's one reason why we kept the schedule piece is if people showed up. You would think that open gyms are what matter, like your ability to come in anytime you want, 24/7 workout facility. No, it's not what matters. What matters is you actually have to take some thought and time it in your day that you're going to show up. You're more likely to show up. Knowing that you could go tomorrow, or you could go at midnight tonight and find, hey, I could do midnight. I don't need to go now, right? You're not going to go. So it's freaking hilarious. It's like we have these things. I guarantee you, like the 24/7 fitness centers, most of the people don't show up. I mean, their whole business model is built on not everybody being right.
Can you talk a little bit, what's the difference between a goal and a system? Because you said focus more on systems versus goals, so what's the difference?
Great question. And so goals often are motivating, right? So a goal is something that you see yourself achieving. So goal could be I want to run a marathon, right? It's not that it's a bad thing. A system is something that you just do that you know will lead you to wherever the goal is, right? So you can have a huge goal, but really the system is you make sure you want to run a marathon, you're running at least 3 days per week, even if it's like a small piece of it. So a system is something that you do over and over again. It just becomes part of your normal routine. If you focus on systems, you build systems, you'll achieve any goal you want. Without a goal, without a system, it doesn't matter what your goal is. It's going to be something you don't get. Yeah. One of the big things I just want to make sure, because I think it speaks to some of the stuff like Dora they talk about, just make it concrete. The issues that you are battling, don't let them just kind of be up there. If they're not written down and you don't really attack it, you're never going to change anything. So make it concrete. Make the problem. It's not a thing during your imagination. There's a reason why you're on shoulder, right? Or if you're having a problem with it, write it down. Come up with different solutions, and then try those different solutions out and see if it makes a difference. But doing the same thing over and over again, it's not going to change anything. So write it down, and then know your most common barriers, especially ones that you've experienced before, right? So to kind of go back to my original one, I learned how to basically exercise without having somebody else with me, right? That was my barrier to start with. I couldn't exercise on my own. Now it's become a strength. I don't need somebody else with me ever, right? So if you know your common barrier, you can attack that barrier, you can overcome it, and it could be something that's never a barrier again for you. But right now, you're going to have 50 different barriers. Which one's the biggest ones that if you say like the last 2 months, that you guys looked at when you guys wrote down how many times you stopped exercising the last 2 to 5 years, What is it that stopped you? Write it down. What was the solution that got you back to activity? Write that down. Because now that's a strength. Now it's something that you could also use again in the future to get you to show up. Was it that a friend been with you? Was it an injury? Could you use fear of an injury to actually motivate you to show up? You have a lot of stuff in your history that's actually super valuable.
Do you really, Yina, don't do something that bores you?
I do. What causes you to be bored by? Like what's boring to you around stuff? Yeah.
So I guess it's the knowledge that in order to do this, I've got to pick up those weights. Like, it's not just the one rep, then I think I've done it on 3, and then I flip the thing, and there's another one. And that's never going to change.
That it may not change. It may be that licking's not your activity.
But I have the motivation
Can we-
because I know I want the strength.
Can we use you as a case study?
Please.
Okay, so we'll talk about yours specifically. We'll go through it. Boy. Just sort of our own data. I just want to hit this really quick. And anybody that wants to stay or wrap it or anything, but we'll go through some specific cases if you guys want to. Some cases, like I said that. A specific case.
No, I would get.
This is from our own stuff. So we actually have the form that you guys fill out beginning of strength training. You're 7 times more likely to stop if you have an injury that leads you there. It's kind of interesting. So even though you're coming from our physical therapy team most often, still that big of a barrier. If you continue to hurt, you'll stop exercising. But the one that's the most interesting to me is that if you're somebody that has an accountability issue, you're 33 times more likely to stop. This is from Army data. So you typically stop. So if you're somebody who has an issue where I want to be there, but I still won't show up, I won't schedule up. If I have on my calendar, I ignore it, you're more likely to stop. So that's why like the getting tools around that's the most important thing. Cool. The fun part about this is any behavior change. You can use the tools that we just went over: motivation, ability, the prompt, knowing your motivators, knowing your demotivators, knowing your current level of ability. Any behavior that you want to change is going to take some level of this. So you can use it in anything that you actually want to do, even if it's not exercise. This works very good. You do it for teams. You do it for family. You can do it for spouses. You can talk to other people around it. So to get back to the other question room, like if other people don't want to do it with you, you can see what will get them on your side. You can assess whether motivation is an ability issue. So oftentimes we think that people are not motivated to do it. Like so, perfect example is me. I hated doing the dishes because I didn't really do the dishes ever. Like so, I didn't know exactly like why am I supposed to put on the thing. Like you're like the dumb stuff, right? Like you're an adult. Why do you not notice, right? My ability sucks so bad, right? It wouldn't matter. My motivation would be a 10 out of 10 for me to do dishes, and it would take me like 3 hours. It was a nightmare, right? Sarah literally walked me through the different things on how to do it, and I enjoy it. It's like a weird Zen moment for it. So sometimes the things that we dislike can change. And the thing that you think is because you aren't motivated to do it, it's because your ability could be a piece of bad comps or barriers that you're just not aware of. But that's it. So if you guys want to, we can do a case study or we can close it right there. It's up to you. We do a case study? Okay. So to hit that again, so we'll basically go through. So we'll use an anonymous case study. So Sarah. Frankie does very anonymous. What's your motivation? So what is it that you want to do?
I want to be strong enough that I am. I know the research says that the more strength I have now, the more able I will be to maintain my current level of activity when I'm 10, 20, hopefully 30 years older. And so I've got to get strong now if I want to even be able to get out of the chair in 10 years.
That's it.
Anything else?
I don't want to be a burden. So I want to be as as ideally so I don't become burnt.
I get
I don't mind them.
All right, there's one issue. We got to cut this out. Right? No more burdens. Okay, so you want to exercise because you want to be strong enough? You more specific in that strong enough for what?
Strong enough to live my everyday life. I don't care about running a marathon, but I want to be able to empty the dishwasher and pick up a stack of 10 plates and lift them up.
So, I mean, you currently not do that? Like right now, can you do that? Or is it,
And, but only because of the 6 months I had here.
Got it. So before that,
But I probably lift 2 at a time.
got it. So strong enough. So I think you need to get more specific, huh? So strong enough on,
So not ache at the end of the day of everyday activities.
that's actually, so that's the beautiful way to say that. Is so when we talk about fibromyalgia, for example, one of the things that's interesting about fibromyalgia is that the individual's capacity, like their maximal capacity, is very, very close to their activity state. So they can have massive delayed onset muscle soreness. It's just happening because they can barely do that activity, right? Without being like a maximal effort. So imagine like the hardest workout you've ever done, how incredibly sore you get after that. Imagine if every activity you did most days since you do that flex. You're gonna feel terrible, right? So you wanna have a gap between your daily activity and what your actual maximal capacity is. What I feel like I'm hearing, and maybe everybody else is hearing, are you saying a lot of it sounds fear-based? For motivation, it sounds like it's not so much that you want to feel good, it's that you're afraid of a future where you're immobile, you're afraid of a future where you're dependent on people and a burden. Okay.
And I'm noticing present where, bending down to tie up my shoes is not a hip activity.
Yeah. Can you think of any other form of motivation besides the sensation? Or I'm sorry, not sensation, besides fear? So that would be that. So I do want you to write this down because we'll talk about it later. I want you to think about it and motivate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that that's a bad thing. Fear of stuff's not bad. It's just that if you find yourself stuck on a certain component of motivation, that may not be the right motivator for you.
Yeah.
So right now, what you're saying, because if you had to rank it, right, what's that motivation and ability? How motivated is what you're currently saying?
It was clearly not hiking, was it?
Yeah. So what did you have to say? Yeah. Where is your rank right now?
Yeah, it's way down at the bottom.
Yeah. So if that's where your motivation's at, I think for someone that's your blind in action. Good God.
Yeah.
But I'm not that fine. I'm not a professional at that. Anyway. So if that's where it's at, you're not going to be successful. Your motivation sucks. So you don't have your motivators are not where they need to be. So that's going to be a piece of you to think about, because it doesn't matter right now. Your motivation it doesn't matter that you can do the exercises, right? So can anybody help her? Anybody else have that motivated? But
Well, I have spent a lot of the same as I've gotten older, about getting dropped on my hammer and be able to get up over that big month. But so my motivation is to get stronger. But the end, which I already say, is I want to be able to keep shucking off sailboats this Christmas and then to get up on a ladder and back onto the boat. So my motivation is hopefully out of 10, 50 years to be on the water, in the water, and get out of the water with them up. So, yeah.
it's very specific. And you have a very clear vision of it.
Yeah, I see myself in the water and I'm going to get up and, yeah.
So one of the ways you could turn it, and this is anybody, if you have like a big motivator, it's mostly more like fear, you can turn it into something that's aspirational. Something that you're anticipating. You want like a reward, something that you enjoy. So is there something around that like physical activity you enjoy? Do you guys enjoy traveling? Do you enjoy going places right now? Where's the last place that you went? You guys also, New York. So it could be something around that effective. Like I want to be able to walk. I can see myself walking through New York, not feel tired. I can go up these steps. I could go all these places. My body feels fantastic. I'm not limited in this experience that I want to experience. So I think switching the motivation piece to a positive, or decide this something has to move. It has to go up. Your motivation has to go up.
Right.
And you have to clear demotivators. Go ahead.
Well, this is something that I wanted to say earlier, and it's really a compliment to you and Sarah and all the staff here, because these three motivators, as I rank them, for me, anticipation, that's I, wanting to be healthy, have a healthy foundation, as you said, Sarah, kind of through life. Sensation is key because you feel great when you work out, or at least after you work out, or knowing that you can do things that you really want to do and that are meaningful to you and your family. Belonging for me is number 3. But what you have created here is a space where I just feel great when I come in here and work out, because people are really supportive. People care about, others' well-being. It's not just about me, it's about us. And to have created a space like that for the community, I think is just so cool. And if that's number 3, a real factor in the motivation in coming here and working out. So good.
So exercise and everything, like what you just said, I think that the motivation part, it does get overplayed, right? Like there's things that we really are motivated because we want to look good, but it has to be at least a little bit higher than where you're currently at, right? So I think the big thing that you guys just want to take away from the case study on this one, me and you will specific type by more. We'll schedule time before you leave. Is that the motivation piece that has to be to a certain level, at least high enough that your current level of ability is high enough that you're actually going to do the activity. And if the thing that you wrote down isn't motivating enough to do the basic least amount, show up 1 time a week, 1 time a month, it's not a good enough motivation. And it's a combo of both. There's never going to be a point where no motivation or there's going to be a time where it's super low. But you still have to have some old motivation to do it. And if you don't, it's either the wrong thing that you're going for, something is misaligned. And it's okay you should spend a tremendous amount of time thinking through that, because it's impossible to overcome. Doesn't matter what your ability level is.
Wouldn't a specific goal be helpful with that?
It could be helpful. It could be as long as it matches something that's motivational. Yeah. So a trip, the way Cole said it, it's like a big trip.
Climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Holy crap. So Mount Kilimanjaro, all right?
That is some other.
I love that. But I do want to say, I appreciate everybody showing up for this first time. Kind of cool to see everybody here actually be in the new space and everything. And I love all of you guys. I'm really happy that you guys have joined us on this journey. So if you guys want to talk to me, like I said, about any of this stuff, come talk to me. Some of you I actually want to just schedule the time to talk with you. All right, cool. Thank you.